Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 527th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the ageless wonder. A shout out for the 24-hour stream and the unprofessional because I actually had the stream unlisted. So for a second, we weren't even live at all. But I'm Travis Snell. I'm joined by...
I am Native Heart Caster Dilmas.
I'm the Warzone Taylor Field.
Oh boy,
Is that your Batman voice? What's going
That's
on
my
there?
little ginger ale in the throat there.
Wow.
Did you mean to do that?
No, but I had to commit, so.
Okay,
Wow.
fair enough. I guess I respect it. I don't know. So, Taylor, I'm going to start with you because I'm still putting the links out and everything like that. Get it out of the way. Where can they find us?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerse is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Dylan, what's going on SideQuest this week?
Oh man, SideQuest is bumping. God of War Ragnarok review is up now. We talk about Game Awards a little bit, but it's pretty much 2 hours of God of War goodness. So go check that out. It was a lot of fun. And then Call of Duty, Taylor. I don't know. And you guys keep telling me
I've been
different
talking
dates
with
every time I
Kirklin.
ask you guys.
I was like,
you. I
Kirklin,
was
we're doing
gonna
a review
ask him
this week.
too.
And Kirklin's like, yeah, we'll do the review this week. Maybe play a little Warzone and talk. I'm like, okay, yeah. Well, we've been talking about it, so.
But why do you have to play Warzone in order to...
That was
play-
Kirklin that said that. I was ready to
Here's-
go.
Here's my thing. So me and Travis potentially talking about Warzone on SideQuest next week. You got to beat us, okay? That's your goal. I don't care when it's out, but
That's
do your
true.
review before.
I agree.
Before that is my
you should not
recommendation.
have... The review should be out before me and Dylan talk about Warzone if I'm on SideQuest next week.
That's fair. I'll relate to Kirkland because, like I said, like, oh, we're gonna do it. He's like, yeah, we can play a little Warzone. Then we can do it. I'm like, oh, okay, but I'll egg him on again because we've been talking about it in the DMs. A lot of COD.
I don't know if it's multiple days. If you hear it's just us three, and this is like the episode, it's the GeekVerse podcast official episode, which will tell you the differences in the second now. But usually we try and get as many people. He does have an exam tomorrow, so I will give him that maybe he's just, once that exam's over and done with, maybe he'll be able to think and stuff like that. Because I get that. Your mind's focused on one thing. But yeah, once that exam's done, I'm going to be like hammering. I have so much to talk about this Saturday, 10 a.m. PST after 9, so everyone join. But I can't wait to grill Kirkland because I found out for some reason him and Shay share a messenger account on Facebook because he was like,
I don't think he was serious about that. I'm pretty sure he was trolling.
What do you mean?
So Jessica told us something like just like planning and stuff like that. And then I'll find the way he phrased it. But Taylor was like, "Did you know about this to Kirkland?" He asked, "Did Shay know about this?" And Kirkland's like, "Well, Shay knew about like 0.005 seconds after I found out because we share the same messenger account." And I thought that was fucking weird. So I have so many questions to ask. That was the exact
Is
quote.
that a thing? How does that work? Even?
I don't know how that works with Facebook. Like, he's
Yeah.
not one of those guys that is like, it's the Kirkland and Shay page. That's like the weirdest of the weird when the couple
God.
like shares. But them sharing the messenger. So if he's listening to this, I'm gonna grill him so much. And there was another thing too.
I just want to know the logistics. I don't even know how that's possible. Maybe, like haven't been on Facebook for a bit, but I didn't know that was a thing. So.
I don't understand it at all. But yeah, head down links below. You can find everything we do, everything you need to know, the Discord, the video, the audio, the Patreon. Most importantly, head over and support us there. You get ad-free exclusive early episodes. Patrons and the producers tier this week, you'll be voting on the Christmas poll for a retrospective, so that'll be fun. Tomorrow we will be recording, the patrons will get it early, but we'll be recording our video game movie of the month, Prince of Persia. Have you guys dived in that one yet? I got 35 minutes left. I'm watching it in parts. Yeah, so we'll see if it's going to be a good time on that review, so check us out. But yeah, that's why you can go over and literally pick the podcast, pick the content we're doing, get ad-free episodes, exclusive episodes early, call in after 9. There's just a bevy of tiers you can do over there. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April Darkness. I coupled your name, Joshua Wright and Smalley Biggs for being on that producer tier. And like I said, you'll pick the Christmas movie soon. And then, yeah, lots of good jazz. So yeah, what I said before is and we're going to open up with a different segment. We're going to open up with, I've stolen the name from a show I used to do in the past, just throw it in here, called Thought Bubbles, because what we're doing is, we talked about this in the town hall, where every week you're getting your 2 newscasts, but one newscast is always going to be, usually it's going to be anybody available. If all 5 GeekVerse members could be 4, 3, as you can see, and we're going to talk about news, of course, but it's going to be a bit more laid back and stuff. We're going to take a lot more just general questions that Maddie has to ask again and stuff like that. So if you ever see, because people said like, oh, we love like the news, but we like when you guys have a bit more laid back. That's what this is going to be. So anytime you see a show called GeekVerse Podcast, GV, whatever the number is, we're talking news, but that's going to be a bit more laid back, hanging out, talking. Thursday is the first episode of the Weekly Geek. I made that name up like on the fucking spot. It's Dylan and Kirklin. That is going to be the structured Dylan and Kirklin banging out news topics. Not time limits. They can go as much as they long, but you know what I mean. It's the structured show. So we're doing that a little bit. So I want to ask, because I feel like we used to do this and stuff, and you'll still get your cutouts, don't worry. Just Dylan Musk, how's it going in life? Because I feel like we used to talk about that, but like, you know, to try and be a bit more laid back. And then after we talk, we're going to get into what we thought about some of these questions we got from our great patrons. So what's going on, Dylan? Other than side questions, which you talked about.
Yeah, I feel like the last month or month and a half ish of my life has been a bit up in the air, as like I moved and still getting sorted there, and then I was in Kelowna for a bit, and all of this kind of stuff. But I feel like now I can just like sit down and like be settled and actually start like decorating this house that we've lived in for a bit now, and I still have like nothing on the walls. I have my CRT behind me now, but I still need to do some decoration, that kind of thing.
How many years does that CRT have left in it, you think, you know?
Forever. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen a CRT die. Like they'll get weird warping on the edges. They might lose some of the settings on the dial, but I don't know. That's why I love them. Is they are just these eternal boxes.
Do you have a contingency for if it does break? Because you play Smash on that, right? That's your Smash machine.
Technically, when Briggs was here, I did, but I have not. Before that, I had not used this thing in a long time because I've not usually seen people in person anymore to play that often. I usually just play on my computer now online. So,
True.
Yeah, it's a bit different, but you know, you got to have a CRT around. A house is not a home until you have a CRT in it. Is what I always say. But yeah, otherwise I'm doing good. Just playing a lot of games. You know, as we wind down and getting ready for Game of the Year and stuff like that, I'm just like trying to hammer out as much things as I can and get as many things on my list. You and S-Bubs are doing the race on Letterboxd. I'm doing my backlogged race to get as many games as I can into the year. So I'm doing pretty good overall, I'd say, right now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go first because, again, transition to Taylor because I had something to ask him about live on air and stuff like that. Don't worry, Taylor. First of all, S-Bub says, I'm very excited. Just finished watching a low-budget slasher film called Bitch Ass. It was surprisingly fun. The killer makes his victims play life-size versions of classic board games. I'm 100% watching that. That sounds fantastic. So look out for that. List. On my letterbox. Yeah, Golden Geeks, look out. But I'm much like Dylan, where I feel like life is finally feeling like it's settling back to normalcy a bit because you had the stream, but then after that was just a weekend. And I think this weekend helped because I did like the bare minimum of what I had to do with podcast work, other stuff, and I actually wrote a little bit, which was great because I remember we were behind the scenes. We were talking about the Halloween party where there's certain things you're working on, I'm working on. I was just like, I just have no time to work on said thing right now because it's just like, it's just too busy. There's just certain times with this life and then like work, like the work jobs, it's like it just gets too much going at the same time. But so I'm excited about that this weekend. The girls are away, so I got the whole place alone. So I'm gonna be working out a bunch. I literally got a whole day dedicated to I'm just gonna write. And I haven't done that in so long and stuff like that. And that's kind of my plan in 2023 is I'm gonna start taking off random days just to sit down and write because I try to write as much as I can. Like lots of times I do like an hour during lunch, but it's still not the same. Like it's nice to have like a solid session because I feel like right when you're getting into it, it's like, okay, time's up and everything. So, Maddie, he said he would join. He said he didn't have to work till late tomorrow, so he said he would join. We got some, Maddie, don't go anywhere because you got a question. We need to ask this to you and maybe bring it to your attention here. But then, so tonight, like I said, it was hectic, everything. So me and Emily just got, I'm not sure if Dylan, you've tried it because I'm not sure if they were in Kelowna when they came in, but DeWitt, have you tried this place? Oh my God, is that good? That is some good.
That's a downtown place, right?
Yeah, but I did DoorDash, so I got it over here. Hour wait, but still, man, it was good. Got some butter chicken, got some paneer and stuff like that. So that was good. Nice. Where was I going with that? Oh man.
Rating?
Oh right. No. Anyways, no. So I got samosas. And this is what I don't know what happened because at the stream, the 24-hour stream, I also did get East Indian food. And I got samosas for the next morning, day, whatever. But I forgot Taylor does not own a microwave. So I was like, oh, man, that sucks. I'm going to save it. So I put it in the fridge. I forgot them when I packed up. And I messaged Taylor the next day like, oh, I got everything but my samosas. I'm going to have to get those. When I ordered my food today, I realized I never got my samosas. And Taylor says that he does not have said samosas.
Whoa.
No, I took a photo of the fridge, shared it with Travis, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't see any."
Did you like
samosas
dig
in
back
here.
there? Like I'm sure they'd be
You
bad
have a lot of
now.
stuff in your fridge, I will say.
Yeah.
Like I could when I
That's
got
like
there, I was trying to put my
collectively-
things in there, and there was not really much room.
That was a collective thing of like everyone throwing food in there, but
That's fair. Yeah.
no, like I looked in behind things, like I couldn't see
It'd
anything.
be
I'm
in a
looking at the photo
brown
now.
bag. But so now I just have samosas that I paid for. They just win the ether. So I don't know if they got thrown out. I'm not sure if Kirklin the bastard took them or something.
Now, is this
but-
an expensive restaurant? Like, are these pricey samosas, or is this
That
like
can be
yeah,
pretty
whatever.
expensive.
I didn't get from to away, but let me take a look at the samosas. I feel like I'm at least set back a solid $8. You know?
That's not a small sum for samosas.
No. So what happened to them, Taylor?
I don't know.
Did
I don't.
Madison eat them?
You have three
No, I don't
cats.
think she did.
I think a cat
Personally,
and a samosa is a good combo. But
personally, I don't go running for samosas when I go for like butter chicken is good, but when I go to get East Indian food, I'm usually going for like lamb curry. That's my guilty pleasure. It's so good. But samosas, not really. I mean, if it's like someone else has bought them and is serving on a plate, like okay, I might have one.
Served on-
But
when does
yeah.
that happen? When has anyone just served it on a plate?
You can get frozen samosas that you put in the oven and put them out for a party favor or something like that. So,
party favorite specifically.
Taylor ate the samosas.
Maddie, I did not eat the samosas.
Or
Get out
Madison
of
did.
here.
He's covering for her. He's done that enough in our friendship.
There's just samosa crumbs.
She
on your
could have
beard.
eaten them. She does like samosas. Maddie, what are you doing? You're betraying me here. You and your reviews. What was that movie you rated so low? I've seen your letterbox.
I mean, I will say, in Madison's defense, I think she is totally welcome to those. If they've been sitting in your fridge for days and like no one's mentioned anything, like I'd go for it. Like, sure, it's a nice little snack.
Yeah. So okay, you know what? They're $4. That's not too bad.
Okay.
These ones that I got today were around like $7, so I'm hoping they're good. But what about you, Taylor? Before we get into some topics here, what's new with you?
What is new with me? Gosh, yeah, I've just been doing Call of Duty, and then
Not a review, just playing.
Yeah, just
thinking
playing,
about it.
and indulging. I finally finished Book of Boba Fett with my dad. That was a good time. And what else?
Like you've seen it before, but you watched it again, is what you mean.
yeah, we got up to episode. I can't even, I think there's 7 episodes. We got up to the episode right when they're like they have to go recruit the muscle, and then right before it gets to Mando. So when he was over visiting, he's like, "Oh, you know, we didn't finish that Book of Boba Fett, did we?" I was like, "No, we didn't. Let's get into it." So I let him watch some Tales of the Jedi episodes, and so when we got to the episodes where it's like young Count Dooku, and he's like, "Oh, this is during episode 1. Oh, right on." He's getting all into it, which is super awesome. And yeah, we finished Book of Boba Fett, and then we
he's
started
like,
on
"They just broke
Andor.
canon."
They just broke canon. Yeah, we started on Andor, and he really likes that. So we're just been catching him up and all this stuff. He watched Top Gun without me, which was very unfortunate because I told him like, "Dad, I got the steel book of Top Gun Maverick. We can watch it, on the TV and everything." And he's like, "Oh, I already saw it." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, damn it." Okay,
I watched
This
that
happened?
this weekend too, actually.
Oh, really? Had you seen the first one before?
No, I have
Oh,
not.
okay. How was that experience?
It
I
was
feel like
pretty
they give
good.
you enough.
Yeah, no,
stuff.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
in terms of the backstory stuff, like they say, it's pretty straightforward
Yeah.
things in there. I enjoy it. I think it's pretty decent. I feel like it definitely is something you want to see in the theater. Like I think that would absolutely elevate the experience. You won't see me fighting for it at Golden Geeks, but I also won't. I won't be throwing it in the dumpster or anything. I think I'm mostly neutral on it, but it has some good moments for sure.
Yeah, that one I'm really interested to see where it ranks. I forgot to do, well, just in general, but maybe next year. Kirklin one time us doing a cast like the beginning of the year predicting what we think could be Golden Geeks and stuff like that, and I would have never
Ooh,
predicted that.
sounds like there's some collusion involved.
Yeah, but like my whole thing is like I don't know. I haven't looked at Taylor and Kirkland's letterbox, but I don't know how highly they have that film ranked. So I'm much in that camp where I'm not opposed to being in the top 5. I don't know if it's for sure in my top 5, but other things get bumped out. Because have you seen Barbarian yet, Dylan?
No, but I am. I keep
Yeah.
asking Muds. She's very particular when it comes to like horror thriller stuff. Like she really needs to be in a mood to watch that stuff. So we just have not had that mood pop up yet. But I know Taylor maybe has it as number 1 on his letterbox once again. So it's definitely one I'm going to be watching before Golden Geeks time. I also watched Pearl over the weekend.
Oh yeah, real good.
Which I mean, Mia Goth. I mean, she's
Oh, yeah.
just insane.
I'll be fighting for that in a couple categories. That was
Mhm.
great because I liked X enough, but I loved Pearl. I connected a lot more with Pearl. I liked the story there and
Yeah,
everything.
I mean, I really like both of them. It's a fun little duology in the same year to have two things like that released is pretty unusual. So
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed that.
And then we get the third one next year, Maxine coming
Right.
out. Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna just take some questions that we had been sent to earlier from our patrons before we get in our main topic here. So I want to start with Maddie because Maddie totally stick around and whatnot. So what I do usually is I put always if you're on Patreon, I put the questions out, the topics, and then it's like okay, here send away whatever you want to. Now with the GeekVerse podcast, like this little change that we're doing, it's like okay, questions about anything, because we've also said like we want it to be like hey for Black Panther, we know we review it the night of, so if you have any thoughts, questions, send them in. We didn't get any, but in the future, if there's shows, movies, you could send in your thoughts or reviews, and we'll talk about them, some points, everything. But Maddie wanted to know who the best ping pong player is, and now it's just because so much happens, but right away these three gentlemen, well I guess these two and then Kirklin, were also just like hey, he's definitely asked this before. So I don't know what I've said before. So Maddie, there you go. There's your last call to you can't ask this question ever again because apparently we've been caught. And why
Maybe he
why
knows
does he want to
that?
know about ping pong specifically?
Maybe he knows that and he's asking it because maybe we've
It's a
played
test.
in the months and someone has improved and out ranked someone else. That would be unlikely. But no, I'm pretty sure Kirkland's right. I think that was like this year's anniversary cast. I think it came up there. I don't know if it's come up before that, but I was definitely getting some deja vu when I saw that one.
I think what we're going to have to do is next year for a segment of the 24-hour stream, I think we're going to have to do some ping pong because I think it's easy enough to get a table set up. I think we should do that. I think we should do some ping pong. Then we can answer that question. I think my answer was still Dylan because I think I based it off beer pong in the past when we played it. And I feel,
Very
tennis.
different games,
yeah, but I feel like there's still something, I asked it before, but it was bread and butter. I wasn't able to listen, so I still don't know.
God, that's hilarious.
Oh, so he's gonna cheat in there. That's why. So there you go. But yeah, I was once great at tennis, so I think that would help. I think I could be a solid 2, and I think I get Dylan in a couple rounds. But I've not played tennis in a long time, so my answer's still Dylan based off the beer pong. I know you say it's different, but
I respect that. No, I mean, I think when I answered this before, it was the previous place I was living, we had a ping pong table at the park that was like a block away. So once again, I feel like I'm sharing the story again. But me and Muzz were playing a lot. And so I feel like in terms of recency, I might have an edge just because I've actually played a lot of it in the last year. But I don't think I'm particularly great at it by any means. But yeah, I've definitely played a good amount in my life. So I would definitely throw money down against you guys. I feel I'd be that confident. I think when we were talking about this question before, I think I threw Briggs in there. I just assume he's very good at it. I've probably played with him in the past, and I think he's good. I remember in high school that was a thing we would do. Is at the college campus nearby, there was like ping pong tables. Sometimes we'd play. I remember him. He's just good at that kind of stuff, so he'd be my answer for that as well.
what about you, Taylor?
If I was putting money down on it myself versus you guys, I wouldn't put any money down because it's just too much of a
Sentence makes no sense.
Yeah.
too much of a wild play there. But I've been known to dabble in some pong. I mean, my high school had the tables and it had the paddles, so why not just grab some?
No
and just
balls
start-
though, hey? Just
No,
balls
no.
and paddles.
Yeah, we just had to pretend in
Just
our
had to
minds.
imagine.
But no, I definitely enjoyed it. I was more of a badminton guy myself. In PE, we would set up the nets and we get the badminton rackets and just hit those birdies all day long. And I fucking loved it. I had a mean swing on that. Oh man! But yeah, ping pong.
We never got to Nintendo Switch Sports on the stream. That would have been fun to play a little badminton. I totally forgot about that.
Well, at least that one we can do next year because we don't got to break up the fucking Wii again. I'm down to do that one because golf will be on there hopefully.
It should be out this month or next month.
Maddie, again, I want to know just like Clay's reviews, like US Claygen's reviews, like he's just watching some random stuff. He said, "Of any GV member seen Lucky Number 11? Very fun, underrated movie with a strong cast. Just curious." I want to know why you're curious, but I have not seen it in a very long time. I think I saw it when I was young.
2006.
Yeah, it didn't leave too much of an impression on me. I was never the biggest Josh Hartnett fan. We talked a lot about him during our Halloween party because he plays Jamie Lee Curtis in a movie, or Jamie Lee Curtis' son, not Jamie Lee Curtis in a movie. Yeah. I'd have to watch again. I wouldn't be opposed, but not enough to comment on it. So I didn't leave a mark on me, at least.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this one, but Bruce Willis plays a character called Mr. Goodcat, and that sounds fun.
Oh wow!
You got Ben
Mr.
Kingsley in
Goodcat.
there, Morgan Freeman, Lucy Liu, Stanley Tucci. Like,
Good
this
cast.
is quite the cast on
Who
this
directed
one.
that movie? Are you on IMDb? Does it say who did that?
Yeah, sure. I can pop this up here.
Yeah.
It looks like it was Paul McGugan. McGugan. I don't
It's
know how
not
you
ringing a
pronounce
bell. What else has he been? What else has he directed there?
that. Let's see.
Victor Frankenstein.
The Acid House.
Oh no!
Wicker Park. Not many things that I'm too
These are
familiar
not some
with.
great titles. Oh man!
Luke
what-
Cage. He did 2 episodes of Luke
Okay,
Cage. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Something going on. Taylor, what about you? Have you seen this movie, Lucky Number 11?
No, not a chance. I've seen this.
There you go, Maddie. We'll ask Kirklin next week and see if we have any chance.
Should
there.
I? Like, is this one? Is that what you're saying, Maddie? Should I put this on my backlog of movies to watch?
I will say that in my lifetime, I think Maddie might be the first person to bring this up like in a conversation. I know
Yeah,
the
I'd never
movies.
heard of it.
Yeah, I know like it exists, but no one's ever said, "Oh, you got to watch Lucky Number 11." So maybe at some point I will, but not. Maybe Maddie one day you'll win on a retrospective poll or something. But I think that's a far ways off at some point.
You have
but
to bribe the other patrons too.
100%. So. Now I'll ask these two because I know Taylor had just booted his up, so he might not have many movies. I'm not sure if Dylan has an account. Espo says, "What's your lowest rated movie on Letterboxd that you've rated the highest?" Mine would be Halloween Resurrection. It has an average rating of 1.7, but Espos gave it a 3.5, which I can't go follow Espos on Letterboxd. His Halloween ratings are fucking savage. Now, I will give him credit because he did this list, very creative, of the horror icons where it's like Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers in the whole list. And the top 4 movies were all nightmare movies. So I respect you. I take it anything away. But the Halloween list, man, it went for a while ride when I saw what was on his stuff like that. But Dylan, have you fired up a letterbox yet?
I do not have a letterbox to my knowledge. Maybe I made one years ago and have since not logged in once, which, would be a thing that would happen. More of a backlogged guy, the gaming equivalent. That's my space. But yeah, I was trying to think about this. I don't know. Can you guys even think in like our review history a movie that's like or generally seen as bad that I reviewed particularly? I think I gave Suicide Squad a 7. Like I'm thinking like maybe a Saw movie would be one. But it's tricky for me too because like even for ratings, like I haven't actually thrown a rating on anything in years. So it's tricky for me to say in that regard.
Yeah, Squad would probably be the one, and if you're on the review, even though you didn't give it the number, and it's not even a bad movie, it would probably be Eternals, because at least for us, I feel like we.
Oh yeah, what is that on Letterboxd?
I feel like we all have that all in our bottom tiers MCU, and you got that a bit higher, which there's other people that do, but yeah, I don't know what Eternals is on
that. Got
Letterboxd.
that's a 3 on Letterboxd.
Okay.
I would definitely give that a 4 or more, I
There you
guess.
go.
So that's
Yeah.
a huge 1-star jump. It's not anything wild, but it's up there.
Taylor, you scrolling through your letterbox right now? Is that what you're doing?
You're
I
really
was looking through
he's just
trying
hidden.
to see.
I was waiting for him to look up. You have a new face, like it looked like a horror movie shot.
I was looking through trying to see because I couldn't. I'm still trying to learn how to properly use Letterboxd, and I couldn't find like a thorough list of things that I've rated.
So if you go to your account, like there's like a person there on the very right, and there when you scroll down, there's a bunch of lists and stuff. And there's one that just says films, and it shows how many films you've like rated this year and stuff. Like,
Oh,
or
okay,
rated
this is perfect. Yeah, this
ever.
is what I was trying to find then.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I'll go because you're looking around. For some reason, and Dylan will appreciate this, my lowest rated movie that I have highest ranked is actually The Incredible Hulk. That has like a 2.8 on Letterboxd, but I got it at like a solid 4 and stuff like that. So I was surprised because at first I thought it was going to be Jingle All the Way, which I just recently gave a 5-star to because I love that movie. But so Incredible Hulk is mine. It's not even that bad because it's not like, I guess it's just barely over a pass. But yeah, that's mine. And I was surprised by 2.8, but I guess I'm not. There's a lot of people like Dylan that are not fans of that movie, and I don't think people go back to watch it that much because it's not really in, like, it is in continuity, but not really. So which we'll talk about in a bit. But Taylor, anyone jumping? There has to be one. Actually, you're the you're the reverse though, I imagine, right? Of like, actually, no, this should be your ballpark of little movies that are rated bad and you have rated pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said this before. Like when it comes to movies, at this point in time, I try to really just kind of level with myself. Like, okay, Taylor, like you've watched this movie, now you're gonna talk about it on Letterboxd. I share the links too. If we've reviewed the movie, I share a review link on the Letterboxd as well. But yeah, I try to really just think about, okay, the story, the characters, it was humorous, like all these different things. So when I look at these movies, like sometimes, like if I really like it, like Barbarian, yeah, it's gonna be 5 stars. But looking at this, I seem to notice my ratings are pretty similar to other like majority ratings for movies. In I'd say a majority of the cases, there's maybe like 1 or 2 where I'm definitely like out there, but the most probable one that fits this kind of question would probably be Deck the Halls, and that one
Oh God,
that one has a 2.2 rating, and I gave it 4 stars because it just cracked me up. I've never seen it
God.
before, and I watched it the other day.
Deck the Halls.
Oh yeah, I saw a TikTok of a specific scene in there with Danny DeVito when he's doing the car sales bit, and he sells the owner one of his own cars. I absolutely loved it. And I thought, I really do want to watch this movie. I want to see what it's all about. And so again, as well, Matthew Broderick being in that film, I didn't realize that. So when I started watching, I was like, oh, I love him. This guy's awesome. Ferris Bueller, Godzilla. He's definitely a 90s kind of actor I like to watch. So
See, I did what S. Bubs did, and maybe I was wrong. Actually, it was the latest Space Jam. I was wrong. Space Jam has a 2 average, and I gave it a 3.5. So there you go.
it has
Yeah,
a 2 average.
It's weird with Letterboxd and even Backlog 2 has like the 5-star system, because naturally you're just gonna have a lot less variance than the 10. But even the 10 system's weird, right? Because there's just kind of an understanding that like 0 to 5 like don't really exist on a 10-point scale.
100%,
and
yeah.
like 99% of things are going to be between that 5 and 10, and even that, like I'd say even 6 to 10 is where things land. So it'd be if you look at like, and I mean once again also because on Backlogged I will sometimes put ratings on things, which might sound weird because I don't do that on reviews. But one thing with when we do a recorded podcast review and we throw a number on it, that's like solidified, right?
Yes.
We can say,
Yes.
oh, I'm changing
100%.
it, but like Taylor will have always given Suicide Squad a 10. No matter, we always meme about this, and like maybe he wouldn't now. And even on Letterboxd, I don't know if you'd give it a 5 because you're just naturally, if you're seeing all your stuff in one place, you're usually gonna like average things out, or if you're doing the case of like an S-Bubs where you're watching all the Halloween movies and then ranking them all, like I'm sure you're kind of judging them against each other in a way, so that averages things out in a weird way. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to point out to these things and see any that are like huge, like more than a 0.5 like difference than what the average would be, I think.
Yeah. So there you go. That was I think I hit them all there, right? Where is I just gotta check yet. Oh no, that was the other one. S-Bub says there's lots of movies in theaters next week. Which one are you guys most interested in? I'm definitely watching Glass Onion, The Menu, Fabletons, The Minion, Fablemans, and I'm interested in seeing Devotion. Yeah, there's a lot that when I even went to Adam, it was crazy how many are actually coming out next week. We actually in 2 weeks, I'm not gonna be seeing it, but Taylor and Kelowna, we're getting an early screening of Puss in Boots: Last Wish. That movie's not coming out until December. We're getting it in November. So
Kirklin will be there. He's got to make sure he gets that box office win.
And then you got Strange World coming out from Disney, Bones and all, which I think is a Timothy Chalamet. Like,
Now,
I think
Strange World.
Being
Sorry, is that
cannibal, or-
streaming and theater at the same time? Is that
It's
just
a
theater?
No, just theater. I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I personally, I think I'll be seeing Glass Onion. I'm likely because I know these two are, and so I'm gonna see that and review it. And then Menu, I think I'm gonna get to this weekend when the girls are gone. I'm really interested in that. I'm looking forward because I like that cast. Fableman, as much as like I know it's Spielberg and everyone's saying it's his best film in decades, and yet as I've said before, I'm a guy that I'm like I don't think Spielberg's made a great film since I don't know. God, what was my War of the Worlds would probably be it. I think they're always good. So there's part of me I just don't know if I want to go to the theaters. There's part of me I go, I could probably just sit and watch that at home, but the hype might get me. But Glass Onion and Menu are the one for me right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got my tickets for Glass Onion. I'm very
Nice.
excited for that. Probably gonna watch Knives Out at home, like the first one again this weekend. It kind of, you don't really need to get refreshed, but I just haven't watched that in a bit, so I'm excited to do that. Very much looking forward to that one. Very excited. And the Menu is definitely one like I'm gonna watch at home streaming. I don't really see myself going to the theaters for that one, but it's definitely on my radar. But yeah, not one I'm rushing out to see. And then I don't really have any thoughts on that. The Fablemans,
Fablemans, Fablemans. So yeah, this is why I was asking. Yeah, Bones and All is a Romance Campbell movie. The clip release for that movie is pretty shocking. So it's Timothée Chalamet and some other actress I don't know, and I kept hearing that, but every time I read the plot synopsis, it doesn't hint to that at all. Like there's nothing about Campbell. It's just like dark secrets and stuff like that. But I guess that's what the dark secrets are. So
yeah, cannibalism is the classicest of all dark secrets.
Yeah, so I will catch that one at some point. I don't think I need to go to the theaters for that, but at some point I'll catch that probably on VOD. But what about you, Taylor?
I did not realize the Menu was out so
Yeah,
quickly. That's
2 days
super
from now,
exciting because I remember seeing that trailer and I was super pumped to actually just dissect and engage what this film's going to be about, and just with the kind of the sinister notions.
No, the dissecting's in Bones and All. That's the
Oh,
dissecting.
yes, of course. Glass Onion, yeah, I can't believe that's next week as well. That blows my mind. And the Fablemans, that's the Spielberg one, right?
Yeah, like his biopic, not biopic.
Yeah, that one just seems like pure magic. And if I need a good humbling,
Pure
I'll
magic.
watch
That's something
it.
the Ageless Wonder would say.
What the
Let me see some. So wait, are you gonna see it in theaters though?
Oh,
Okay, that's not pure magic. If you're like, I don't know. Like,
no, because if it's out this week, I just need to figure out my schedule because I would like to see it.
I don't think it's out this week for us. I think it's getting like limited releases here and there and stuff like that. So I
Okay.
don't think it's out yet for us.
Let me. Okay, I'll speak to my delay because see it opening night. I don't know if I will because I just got to figure out the scheduling wise. But to see it in theaters, yes, it feels very grounding and I could use a humbling. So
You don't want to be spoiled, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
true.
let's see what's going to happen. But yeah, there you go. So we're going to be doing that from now on GV Podcast. Just touch base with the listeners, the people that support this, and we thank you very much and everything like that. So that was fun, just some random conversation. So we're going to take our first ad break, and then we're going to be back talking about some big Feige news and Secret Wars and stuff we've heard before and haven't heard before, etc. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, let's talk a bit about this because I feel like we've all talked about this in like when I've listened to you guys cast and Kirklin, Dylan, Taylor did. Like I feel like we've all talked about this in variations of separate groups. But let's talk about this now. So there's a report again that came out this week. I got to find the verbatim and everything like that, like the actual report. But the idea was that Kevin Feige. Here's the headline. Kevin Feige reportedly wants Avengers Secret Wars to include almost every major character from every major Marvel film in an effort to make it bigger than Endgame. One scooper, when they were asked, they listed off X-Men, both eras. They listed off the both Fantastic Fours. They listed off the Spider-Man again, and just kind of other characters you can think about. I was trying to find like there's another quote here, and here's the kicker too, where I was kind of surprised. It was apparently being described as they want a sequel to the Portal scenes, but instead of it being our returning heroes, it would be multiverse heroes trying to come in and save the day and whatnot. And Dylan, I want to ask you because we've heard about it's been a meme of Secret Wars and stuff like that, but it seems like it's getting more and more like Jackman's back, the Spider-Man's back, stuff like that. But I think more from my talking point is, do you feel they should just do like a straight up just Portals 2, like just redo it but with multiverse characters? Because for me, I hear that I'm like, I'm hoping they just mean in concept, because I just don't literally want it to be Portals opening up and just hero. Like I want to see them, but I just feel like that's very cheap if it's just Portals 2 and that's it, and we're redoing it.
Yeah, I mean it's tricky because if you're pulling in all these non-MCU characters, and a couple of them, like the Spider-Man and the Hugh Jackman, will have popped up in other stuff, actually in the MCU at some point, so they're kind of in there. But like for the rest of them, it's like, how do you do that in a way that actually is good storytelling?
Yeah,
and that's a really hard thing to do, because that's the thing with Portals is like that is fan service in a way, but it also doesn't feel like it feels like exactly what should be happening in that moment. Like that is the story of it and all this kind of stuff, and it all makes sense. It's kind of written well as just being like this fun thing to gawk at, I guess. So yeah, it's tricky, but at the same time, like where we are in the MCU, I'm kind of like, we've done so many things where they keep it contained and whatnot, and like I don't know if that is if Secret Wars is going to be the end of the multiverse saga, then maybe that's a good way to do it. Is just blow the doors open, all the stuff that people have been asking for, these characters from these different things. Here's your one last ride, to quote Ghost Rider, for them. Like you're gonna get this one moment where all these characters can come in. Anyone that would like realistically would happen. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure even I think for Endgame, like Portals, like they were able to get a lot of people on set to film some of these things. I think when you do this, you're really opening up to a point where it's probably going to be a lot of. We talked about in the Multiverse of Madness review, John Krasinski, how it's like, man, this guy was clearly not acting with anyone. He was just alone in a room with a green background. And if that was the case for everyone here, I think that would be disappointing, or it wouldn't actually live up to that hype. So I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Marvel, but like everything we hear about this is like, man, is the scale of this too much to actually deliver on? I don't know.
Is the budget too much too? Like I don't even know how this works.
Yeah.
If like, let's say they get everybody right, and they get Tobey and Andrew, they get Downey back, they get Evans back, they get ScarJo back, they get Jackman back, they get like Fassbender, they get McAvoy, they get Ryan Reynolds, they get the Fantastic Four people, they get Ben Affleck's Daredevil, which has been said that they have been talking to him of like trying to get that out. Like if this all happens, I don't know how that works on a per minute appearance basis, because I imagine like Ben Affleck's Daredevil, he's gonna have a cameo, do something cool, and that'd be kind of it, right? The other thing I'm curious with these heroes, like would they, I wonder, I guess they probably would. I was gonna say, would they kill him off, but I guess they show that with Multiverse of Madness, they easily would. They don't care if they have multiverse cameos.
There's another one out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and if this is the end, it's like, well, we can kill off Ben Affleck's Daredevil because like you're never gonna see him again, right? Because it's the end of the multiverse saga, and then Charlie Cox is Supreme and stuff like that. Yeah, $500 million budget, so that's buzz, and that's what I'm more curious about, just the logistics. And like what Dylan said, like my biggest fear is what I don't want them to do a scene where we finally get Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire together, but they're not actually interacting at all. Like I think that was the best thing about No Way Home, was you could tell they're in the same room, you could tell they're vibing off each other's energy. Like there was something natural about that, where if it's just, you can try your best, but if it's just Jackman on a screen and Maguire on a screen, they're talking to each other, it's like, I don't want that. And the portals, like I said, I just hope it's something where it's not literally portals. I hope it's some other device. I imagine what they're going to do is, because that's been the other thing coming out, that Kang is going to still be the villain of Secret Wars as well, which I think we all kind of figured and whatnot.
Would the theory, the running theory be then, because I haven't actually read a Secret Wars comic run before, that like Kang's bringing in all these iconic villains as well, and that's a big part of it too?
No, well,
so you'd have like a Green Goblin scene where you could get 4 random heroes, and they're gonna have a scene together where they're fighting Green Goblin. And then you bring in like all these iconic villains from over the years, and they can like just do little scenes like that, like weird little combinations of a few actors at a time fighting one villain, and then like the main team fights Kang at the very end of it.
Yeah, the Secret Wars that I've read the most, which is more the classic one, was more about the closing of like a multiverse and stuff. Well, there was 2. There was one, I guess it's a new one, where we're closing of a multiverse, and the other one was just like on Battleworld, where the heroes are just going to fight it out to see what's the best multiverse, and that was like a mixture of heroes and villains. So to me, I think the only way they're going to get, I think what they're going to do is there's going to be some character that's like the messenger. Let's say they go to Charlie Cox's Daredevil, and they're like, we're going to give you this device. You're going to go to each multiverse and explain what's going on. And I think what they're going to try and pitch is that Kang has like 2003 Daredevil, when we watched that, in 10 years later, Kang showed up and ruined that universe. Like I think they're going to show like each universe will be somehow infected by Kang. So then it's just a quick like, hey, we need your help, and you don't got to see them talk to everybody. That's what I think. But I think you'll have villains. I legitimately think Thanos will be in the lineup of heroes to help fight Kang. I really do, because like look at What If. We got that one episode when he was like, oh, everyone laughs at my pitch, I thought it was a good idea, like when he was on the Ravagers, right? So I could see them doing something to that aesthetic as far as heroes, villains, etc. Like I don't know, it's like, does that mean you get William Dafoe's Goblin back on? Like, does he come back because the Spider-Man helped him out, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna help you take out Kang one last time? And I don't know, I'm excited for it, but man, it's gonna be
I'm sure this movie will be 3 hours long.
Yeah,
just like has to be. But I wonder too, because since we're doing the part 1 part 2 sort of thing with this, like if they set up so much of it in Kang Dynasty that part 2 can just be the Portals equivalent, whatever it is, where you don't have to have this long drawn out like plot, and it really is just like a bunch of battles at a grand scale, then at least maybe they'd have more time for that kind of thing rather than it. I mean, the portal scene like that. How long is that fight scene? It's pretty long when you
Oh yeah, I think
factor all from the start to the end of it, right? It's a pretty lengthy sequence. But then at the same time, it's like, is that a good movie if the whole
it's
thing
just a
is
cutscene movie
battles?
at that point. It's just like, yeah, and there's part of me where it's like, yeah, I don't know how to make a good movie, but at the same part, there's like, man, it would be fun just to see that mess of stuff.
We
going
had
down.
the Infinity Saga. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Yeah.
And like for me, I'm also just wondering too, because that's been something like there's a scooper that I don't know why they're like deleting their count at the end of January, so they're just like throwing a bunch of stuff out there, and they have a track record, and lots of stuff's been coming out like, okay, Doom's gonna be around, but he's not gonna be main villain and things like that, and the idea is that okay, you're gonna do lots of Doom, Fantastic Four, and X-Men thing in Phase 7, and like I agree that I think the X-Men stuff coming in Phase 7 that will get people still excited that want to see more. But I think if you do like this end game or this multiverse, like all these big characters, like I said, if you get a poster with Robert Downey, Tobey Maguire, Hugh Jackman, like I don't think you can ever get that level again. Like that is like I think with Endgame, it's like, well, you can always get that level because that was just your own heroes, right? So I could see them doing, the multiverse saga heroes like on our Earth. Okay, they're fighting Kang, but now when you get to like Jackman and Reynolds, it's like I think it's just at a level where it's just you could never do that again. I almost wonder if that's when Feige walks away, like if he moves on to something else as far as like a promotion, because like once you do that, it's like building the X-Men's cool, but can you ever? I don't know. You can't get to that again. You can't relive. Like, what are you gonna do? Because if it's a close in the multiverse saga, I don't know. But Taylor, what do you think about this? Also, I know you want Nick Cage and stuff like that, but what do you think about like this endeavor apparently of Feige contacting every major Marvel actor in every major Marvel film?
Let's fucking do it. Like, I don't care. It could be a exact same scene as Endgame with the portals opening up. You have Nick Cage saying, "On your left."
No, okay.
Come out of the portal on his bike. And
They're
I'd
not
be
going
there.
to give Nick Cage the honor of saying "on your left." If anybody's going to be Downey, I promise you it'll be Downey, not Nick Cage. On your left.
Oh, I'd buy 3 tickets and see this 3 times in theaters at least. Like, it'd just be incredible. No, I think this is great. I think, how do you one up something so incredibly potent and powerful as that OG Portal scene? You get everything that this same community has grown up on. The OG X-Men, the Ghost Riders, the Daredevil, all these other characters, the Fantastic Four, all of these characters that we're all so used to, including the Spider-Men. And you bring them all back for one last ride. And yeah, if we're killing these characters off, like, so be it. They don't have to come back at all again. Just the fact that Kevin Feige is this powerful of a man that in the snap of his fingers, he can make all of these non-MCU movies part of the MCU. Like, the man's just going to be making bank. It's so easy. The guy's just fucking loaded, and he's going to become even more loaded. This is great. They need to do it. I hope they do it. This is just, I don't know where I can go with this. This is what I expect this from this movie now. So
I expect it. You don't expect that, but. And what I was gonna ask you something I asked Dylan. Like, what do you do? Like, obviously, yeah, okay, you got the X-Men and Doom and stuff like that, but like, how do you even approach this after? Like, when you do this, like this is like the biggest like blowing of the load ever. Like, we're gonna.
Yeah, you don't. I think the MCU just dies after that. I think you don't do
Really?
another saga. I think it's just, I think that's. I mean, I'm like, it's one thing
So they're
when
just not going to do the X-Men. They're going to end with Secret Wars and never do the X-Men.
Never do the X-Men. No, I think with the X-Men, there's a lot of juice left in the tank. But I think it's just after Endgame, it's like, wow, where do we go from here? Everyone, even the GA is like, oh, how are they going to do another one? This is crazy. But then just slowly but surely, we're getting these little bits of new setups with characters in the Disney Plus shows and the movies.
A little bit of new ones. How many fucking
yeah.
setups do we have right now?
A few, actually.
Shang-Chi, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Hawkeye, Elaine. Like, I feel like it's been a big. It is very much Phase 1. Like, we've got some returning stuff, but there's been so many new characters where it's like.
Yeah, that's true, and it's definitely impressive that they've managed to establish this attraction to this new like narrative that they're creating with all these different storylines, because like I said, Endgame was just such a climactic, like oh my god, like I can't believe that was crazy, where do you go from here? But now we're already well well underway. Well, yeah, well underway
Well
into
underway
this.
is good. Yeah.
Yeah, this new saga, and it's so hard. And I have to remind myself, like, yeah, we're not in the Infinity Saga anymore. We're in the Multiverse Saga, and here we are coming up to 2 more Avengers films, and after that, we'll be into the next saga, I guess. So, and at that time, when we get X-Men and all that, like, I'm sure they'll find another way to equate a portal scene that'll just blow everyone's minds out of the water. You get X-Men and Fantastic Four somehow. I don't know how,
But
but
just
that's
them,
the thing.
I just don't think you can recreate. Like I feel like this should be a, like you said, if it is ending of the MCU, like that's when you do it. If you plan on going longer, and I think they will, it's just like I don't know how you get to.
I think
this
again,
point.
Feige's got his little notebook. He's written it out for the next 20 years. The secrets. This is the kind of secrets that they kill people over, and yeah.
Oh my God.
It's one thing that's kind of interesting about this is that like while the MCU is going on now that Disney owns all of it, I guess outside of the Sony stuff, is that like there isn't going to be other iconic characters that are developed outside of the MCU, right? So like we're not going to have a Deadpool equivalent character where it's like, oh yeah, this is like kind of tied to these X-Men movies, but it's just like here's just a new iconic character who Ryan Reynolds in this performance is iconic as a Hugh Jackman or as I don't know, like a Toby in a way. Like maybe it doesn't quite have the prestige there quite yet, but you know what I mean.
It will.
Where like
It will
that
one
kind of thing
day,
is just
yeah.
not going to happen in these years.
That
as we
era's kind of
develop.
over now. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're not going to just develop more of those things. So it is tricky. Where like after Secret Wars, even though that's years away, and then let's say we wait another 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and they battle Galactus now, and they're bringing everyone back. Like the only characters will be people we've developed in the MCU, and then I guess if they want to bring Sonyverse characters over, but like there won't be as many big surprise like yeah, I guess
Yeah.
Secret Wars in a way is almost like the last shot. Now, of course, if they don't get every single person, which they won't, they could always bring them back later. But yeah, if they're already getting Hugh Jackman, like I was listening to your Travis Told You episode, and you were talking about the Mount Rushmore, which I really liked, and it's like, man, it's really hard to come up with that fourth person, but because
Who
it
is
sounds
the
like
fourth?
it seems like they've already got the biggest people, like the 2 Spider-Mans, Hugh Jackman, like Ryan Reynolds was a big one. I think I assume they'll grab some of those X-Men people who are still like around and interested in doing some of that stuff. Maybe.
Apparently, yeah, like legitimately, Scoopers said they're talking to everybody, like
Yeah.
everybody, like even Kelsey Grammer's Beast is apparently someone that's being talked about because like
Right.
Kelsey Grammer said some line where like, oh, I hope I get invited back, or I'm never going to Disneyland, and some Scooper just said, oh, he's going to Disneyland, don't worry. So it's like I think they're gonna be getting. I think they're just getting as many people, and I think the same way they did that scene in Endgame where they went to the different timelines, I think they're going to do something like that. Like, it sounds like they're doing that already for Deadpool, but I could see them just popping in the X-Men timeline and being like, hey, and like he saves Patrick Stewart's alive again, and you could literally do like the 2 X-Men together now, though. You can have like the young and the old and all this stuff, and I will laugh because I think there's a chance I will laugh when you don't see like Tom Hardy's Venom, and I think there's a really good I don't. That has to be the biggest slap in the face if they do this huge Secret Wars event and all this stuff, and you don't see Jared Leto's Morbius, you don't see the Madam Web characters, you don't see Tom Hardy's Venom. Like that to me shows like, okay, they're bringing back films like fucking Ghost Rider. No offense to it, but like they're bringing all these films back, and they won't even bring in the Sony characters. You know, that's like low of the low. Like, so I'm gonna ask Taylor because I know Taylor never listens to Travis Told You. So I said on there, I said the Mount Rushmore. In my opinion of comic book like actors to heroes was Downey as Iron Man, Jackman as Wolverine, and then Tobey as Spider-Man. I don't know who the fourth one on that is.
Toby as Spider-Man, Jackman as Wolverine. Sorry, and who's the first
And
one?
Downey as Iron Man. It's like
Downey
people
as
that are
Iron
important
Man.
and associated with that role. Like I thought maybe Reynolds. I thought you could do Evans. Like, but there's still not like a clear cut to me like the fourth spot. You know, you're gonna just say Nick Cage Ghost Rider, but that just should not.
No,
count at
I
all.
mean it could be something. I think something a little bit more potent than that. I'm surprised it wouldn't be like Chris Evans as Captain America.
That's what Maddie's is. And that's why I said like I guess that one just comes
That's a
down to
good
I guess just to me, like not to sound bad on Chris Evans, but just like I feel like those 3 like changed the franchise and the genre in such a big way. Where Chris Evans, I think he was big for MCU, but I don't think he changed the game. You know, like Iron Man had to work because of Downey. Jackman carried X-Men franchise. Toby was the kickoff of Spider-Man. And I guess other people would say, like I said this to like Blade, but like I get it because he was like one of the first Marvel big screen heroes. But I don't think he like changed the game. So I don't, and that's why I would honestly think it probably would be Reynolds in my spot because he did the rated R Marvel thing. He made those almost billion-dollar films. Like I feel like he is the fourth on that slot.
Did Wesley Snipes get an invitation
To Secret Wars?
Yeah.
I think
He's got some weird like legal stuff, right?
Yeah.
I don't really know the full story, but
it's
They're
tough.
not pissed at him for how he acted in Blade Trinity.
It's a tough thing because he's had like arguably a bad past with Halle Berry, and then he also got arrested for tax evasion. I think there's a
the
chance.
most noble of crimes. tax evasion. And when you say Halle Berry, you're not talking about Storm. You're talking about the actress herself, right?
Yeah, with the actress, yeah, and stuff like that. So I think he's like a maybe, but I think I think all I would do is maybe just have like him and Ali like do something together fun. And that's what I was gonna ask you guys too. Like, what's the pairing you would want to see the most of like X character and Y, like X and Y? Like I've said mine a million times. For me, it's Toby and Jackman, just because as a kid, that's what I wanted for life, was just seeing those two interact. Because there's just something always love the Spider-Man Wolverine connection because they just dislike each other so much because they just grate on each other. But I think that to me is just, it's almost just more for iconicness. And I just also wanted to see Toby's Spider-Man have to react to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Like there's something funny about putting Tobey Maguire and like Hugh Jackman in a room together. It's like the same way why I was mad that Michael Keaton's cut from Aquaman 2, because I always wanted to say, like, what is a Michael Keaton and Jason Momoa scene like? Like how does that play? Like it feels so weird. So that's always my two. Is that's the combo for me.
Yeah, and I maybe like Charlie Cox would be a fun but that's already gonna happen. We've already seen it, with him.
Charlie Cox with Toby instead of Tom Holland.
I don't even know
Spider-Man.
I mean, I do want to see more of that. I
Mhm.
mean, I guess specifically that Spider-Man combo we did not see, but I would like to see that. I'd have to think about that. There's so many possibilities. I really want them to have fun with the people who have had multiple Marvel roles. Like I do really want that Chris Evans moment where he's like somehow Captain America and Human Torch, and I like acting with each other. I don't know about that. That would be funny, weird. I don't know if I actually want that.
Do you
but
have that,
I
or
could
do
be
you have
down.
a character like a Bucky or Sam who knows Steve interact with that character? Because they
Ooh.
would have that semblance.
That's
of
a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Like, aren't you? Like, because I still think that's the. And I even
and he's
wonder
just like shit talking them, like his classic
Yeah.
Human Torch way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I still wonder in Secret Wars if that's the pitch. I still think he'll be back as Cap, but I wonder if that's how they get around.
I
it
gotta
and
do it
stuff, but-
eventually, right?
Yeah, I think so. So both the Daredevils, that would be fun, but it's just like
Yeah, I definitely want that.
it's again just thinking of Charlie Cox and Ben Affleck. To me, I don't know. I don't care. We got Jackman back and Maguire, so maybe it's easy to say now. To me, seeing Ben Affleck in an MC movie is gonna be one of the fuckiest weird things ever if it happens. Like I just think that's such a weird oil and water sort of, because like you think about that 2003 Daredevil, that does not scream like him in the MCU at all. I'd love they got Colin Farrell's Bullseye back. That'd be fantastic and stuff. But what about you? Let's see. I need to see Ben's Daredevil and Happy Hogan. Oh, that'd be fun because the Favreau connection, and then because like he was Happy Hogan and Daredevil, that'd be fun. Favreau with a lot of these characters has like some history and stuff. So
Right.
Taylor, I imagine again, as the answer all these, it has to be Ghost Rider. So is it Ghost Rider and somebody, or is it two different ones that I wouldn't think of?
I don't know who I would want to see Ghost Rider like pair up with, because I just want to see him on his own. So I mean, I can't picture him with anyone else. But that being said, if I had to see two characters kind of align, I would really like to see, I don't know which Spider-Man, but a Spider-Man and Deadpool together, and just see that
All
interaction.
three, I'd say.
All three would be really, really funny.
Yeah.
I know like my younger cousin, he was super big into the Deadpool Spider-Man comics and just seeing their interactions with each other. And so I kind of picked up on that a little bit, and just, it was always very humorous, and just seeing how he engages with Spider-Man, and just like, I don't know. Sometimes it's almost like a like a sexualized manner at times, and
it's really weird.
yeah, I think that'd be really funny represented on screen. They don't have to go full like sexual or anything like that for the kids, but just something that the
Some
adults
light
can laugh
flirting.
about. Yeah,
Yeah, and you can make them hit on Andrew and Toby because they're a bit older and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like even at the Oscars, Andrew and Ryan Reynolds made out and stuff like that. There's a
Whoa.
clip of that. You can go watch that out. So
Go check that out.
already,
Is,
yeah.
is there an iconic villain that like we really want to see come back? I'm trying to think of like some of those old movies. If even if
It's
they
all-
weren't the best movies, if there was like a great villain in there. Obviously, we already got a lot of the Spider ones, but
Yeah, for me, it'd probably be like always Defoe with somebody. But I think the
Yeah.
other one that I want to see somebody, I would love to see like a Ian McKellen Magneto with like a Thanos or a Killmonger. Like I think Ian
what if
McKellen.
Ian McKellen and Fassbender just have?
I was gonna say that. Yeah. Ian McKellen and Fassbender would be great because they didn't get to have share a scene together in Days of Future Past. So I think just a Magneto with one of those characters, like one of the villains, is a win and stuff like that. And Defoe too, but for some reason I don't think Defoe would be back. I feel like this is not one he would be partaking in. I feel like the Spider-Men are, and that's apparently too that soon the new deal is going to get announced. And apparently Andrew and Toby are like they're pretty much, it sounds like, lock for Secret Wars. It sounds like that's happening.
Nice.
The thing that sounds like it keeps going back and forth is apparently now it's just back to Scooper. Hearsay, but apparently Sony and Andrew are again having problems with this Spider-Man 3 conversation.
Shocking.
So, yeah, apparently they just because I said this after Spider-Man, and everyone just said, "Oh man, they can bring Andrew back, and he'll be the villain of the Spider-Man or the Venom Sony verse and stuff." I just never got a sense of what Andrew Garfield's actor now that's something he would want to do. Looking at those movies, like why would he do this great thing with No Way Home and MCU? And every interview he's like, "Oh, I love Feige and I love working with him and Pascal together. Like it was great." Why would he want to go do the Morbius Venom?
The grass
stuff?
is not greener over in the Sonyverse.
And that's where I think that's gonna. I think we might not see it happen. I think we'll see him again in crossovers, but it sounds like this solo project's having an issue, and they shouldn't. They should just get off. They should just figure it out. Just say, "Hey, who's a writer and director you'd like pair with this? Let's work together. Let's figure like the same way what happened with The Rock and Black Adam." That's what they got to do for Garfield. Just let Garfield shepherd this thing, do his own thing, but maybe they want him to fight fucking Tom Hardy and stuff like that. So, S-Bubs, it'd be cool if we got lots of alternate posters since there's so many characters for this movie. Yeah, and I think that's the benefit it could have versus No Way Home and Endgame is they could advertise a lot of this. Like,
Right.
I would love to see a poster of just a 2000 hero. Like, imagine that Jackman, Affleck, Maguire, like Evans as Torch. Like, just because people used to do that. Like, look at this universe. Like Eric Bana as Hulk. Like, oh, this was our MCU for the MCU. Like, I'd love if there was just a 2000s poster or a 90s poster with these heroes and stuff like that, or a villains poster. Man,
I hope we get an Ultimate Alliance coming out alongside this movie
my
too.
God. You have
All those
to.
characters. Oh, give it to me.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Secret Wars. That's all you got to call it. Boom. It sells
Truly.
itself right there. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll report on that because that still has 4 years, and this is going to be one of those movies like Endgame where we're going to have rumors galore for the next few years. But I'm excited for that day. So let's take an ad break, and then we're going to talk about some more MCU stuff because I can't wait to talk about this fucking weird-ass story. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So, what was that I was supposed to saying there? I didn't put that down. Sorry. Do you think Kevin would allow the cameos to be known, though? I think there'd be a mixture. I think it'd be the ones. I think you'd have some people that they'd advertise, and then some you wouldn't. Like the quick ones, I think they'd hold secret. But if it's like, hey, Spider-Man, like Tobey and Andrew have a big role, let's put them on the posters and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, for the people who have, Hugh Jackman will have appeared but the people who have already appeared in the MCU,
Yes.
I think at that point, like, you're not going to get that surprise gotcha
No.
moment. I mean, not that Hugh Jackman is that anyway, since they've announced it before the movie's even coming out. But I think for those characters, for sure, you show it off. But then, I'd even down if they threw John Krasinski in there, get him back
Oh
as
yeah,
Mr. Fantastic
100%.
for a short stint. I'd be down for that as well. But yeah, I think they will. They probably have a lot of room to hide a bunch, but still show off a bunch on your poster, the biggest ones.
Yeah. No, I forgot about Krasinski. That's a perfect time to bring him back. Or there's been times where Reed Richards is evil. That's always been my pitch: is bring him back as the evil Reed Richards.
Well, because we'd have the new Reed Richards. He could
Yes.
fight Miles Teller. He could fight Krasinski, and then the guy that I can never remember his name, Ewan Grufford.
Ewan
or whatever
Grufford, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. That I was gonna say that'd be fantastic, but
Just
that'd
a bunch
be
of stretchy arms punching each other.
the
That'd be
3D is
so
like whoa,
good. Yeah.
and that'd be a great time too. If you were to get that Krasinski, that's when you could actually do Emily Blunt as Sue Storm because she has to come in there for 5 minutes and that's it. It's just a fun wink and nod and that's
Yes,
it.
good
So.
point.
That's one thing. It's I don't want that multiverse saga to end though, because there's always so much stuff you can do. But all good things must come to an end, except for Thunderbolt Ross. So Thunderbolt Ross, this has been a developing story for the past month, right? There was a rumor. Okay, hey, Harrison Ford might be in the MCU as Ross. Okay, that's going around. That it's got confirmed. Okay, he's in there, and that's confirmed he's in Thunderbolts and Captain America 4. So now, currently, we have a plot synopsis going around for Captain America 4. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this full thing, but so apparently Thunderbolt Ross has become the president of the United States in the MCU. That's going to be part of the Twitch, which I cannot wait to see.
That happened during Snap era, or it happens in the movie? Do you think?
That's unknown. I think.
I don't think it's during Snap era because he was at the funeral for Tony, right? And he didn't have security or anything with them.
He has the Avengers around.
He has the
him, though.
Avengers.
Yeah.
Although I mean, Nebula's right there. She could, in a moment, kill anyone. So.
Yeah, Bucky too. He might just snap and homecoming contract and whatever it happens.
God,
Yeah, takes
More
to the
dangerous than
president.
you think, actually.
I would especially because it's a new actor playing him. I'd like them to show it in the movie of him being elected. But the word is that he's gonna be, he's going to become president. There will be either him turning in or the beginning of him turning into. Sounds like he's going to be Red Hulk, so that's going to happen. Which I just laugh because we're going to just get a Hulk. I'm not going to get over a Hulk looking Harrison Ford. I think it's a funny fit to me. We're going to get that. And two, just think of in the world of the MCU, they're going to get a president that turns into a Hulk. That's some wild stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But then apparently part of this plot is that. And it makes sense because if you saw Wakanda Forever, you would understand some of this with the character of Val. And there's even been some plots with this in Thunderbolts that apparently there is some metal that joins Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts that the government is trying to get their hands on. It is not vibranium. So the rumor is that Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts are going to set up adamantium, also the Weapon X program. That's going to be Thunderbolt Ross's big initiative is to create that. Because if people look back, technically in the Super Soldier program, that was the same program, the beginnings that started Wolverine and stuff like that. So they're kind of reversing it where I think, well, actually we don't know when Wolverine was around. They might retcon it and say, remember in Falcon Winter Soldier when we got there was another Captain America? They might say that there was someone even before Steve and his name was fucking James Howlett Logan and.
Because I mean, I'm thinking about that thing in She-Hulk too, and it's man with claws found in club. So would the metal? Is that something that's happening in this Captain America movie, or would it have been this thing has been going on for years? I'm trying to think if that She-Hulk thing could actually check out, or if
that's
that would
the
just be
unknown part.
disqualified.
It's just that they are trying to get their hands on this metal, and people are being coy, but then other people have said it is adamantium and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's just something I still feel like they're gonna somehow do we even got that with Namor and Wakanda Forever. I feel like they're still gonna somehow do Logan the guy who doesn't age. So I feel like adamantium has to be around. But maybe if they don't, maybe it is just Logan's just created in 2025 as Wolverine. I don't know. But what do you feel about all this stuff? Done as far as you're gonna be the president. Red Hulk sounds like it's coming, and it sounds like this is gonna set up Weapon X and stuff like that. Now Cap 4 sounds really busy because you got Red Hulk, you got the leader in there. There's rumors Moon Knight is in it as well. There's rumors Shield, so it's just
I did not hear the Moon Knight rumors. That's
so
crazy.
the problem with the scoopers, they don't know if it is Cap 4's and Moon Knight or Moon Knight's in Cap 4. It's just apparently they're conjoining those characters because of their military history. It sounds like they're gonna have Sam and whatever personality, I guess. Oh God,
Mark Spector.
Mark Spector. Yeah, he was the CIA one. So I think they're going to be saying they were not buddies, but they knew each other at some point in a war or something.
Has there been more rumblings of Moon Knight season 2 happening? Because I have not heard about that either.
No, but it's just known that he's for sure coming back.
Okay.
Yeah, they just don't know what aspect. Yeah.
Oh God, I want to see that too now. I want to see another personality of his where he's just Apocalypse. Bring that forward for.
Oh,
Secret
and
Wars
that's
somewhere.
Secret Wars, Moon Knight versus Apocalypse. Oh man, that'd be great.
Uh, yeah, it's exact. I was thinking exactly what you said. Where this is starting to sound like there's a lot going on, which recently happened for Wakanda Forever and didn't really work for me in some ways. So, yeah, I guess I'm getting worried, but at the same time, these things all sound pretty exciting for me. Like that setup of Weapon X. Like that's not something that I really know much about. I know there was like what movie was that? That was like a post-credit scene, right? Of like Hugh Jackman
X-Men
and
Apocalypse.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember all these things now, but that part of the storyline when it comes to Wolverine is not something I'm familiar with. Maybe it comes up in the Wolverine movie, the Origins, but it's been so long since I've seen that, I don't even know. But you're right that like, man, Harrison Ford as the Hulk. I'm like trying to picture the CGI of that, and maybe some CGI artist has done some cool rendition of that and what that would look like. But even just because he's getting older now, he's showing on his face and stuff like that. I'd be curious what they go for. But I mean, when it comes to those big characters like Hulk, obviously She-Hulk we talked about in that show, CGI can be iffy at times, but Hulk himself has always looked great, and I even think like Abomination, the CGI was really great there. So I feel like it could look pretty good. It's just it's going to take a bit of getting used to because he is such an iconic person in his look that it'll be hard to remove him from the character there. Whereas like even someone like Mark Ruffalo, very iconic now, but at the time I didn't really know who he was that much, so it didn't shock me too much.
There's an artist rendition here. There you
Yeah,
go.
here you
Of
go.
what Harrison Ford's Red Hulk might look like.
Something about the hair is the weirdest part to me of this image.
Oh, hang on. I got a better image here. I got to bring up a new screen there. And so we were talking about that in the GA chat of like, oh, I wonder if he's gonna wear the mocap suit. There is no fucking way, unless they gave Harrison Ford and a gargantuan amount of money. There is no way to me that Harrison Ford's gonna be on set rocking that skin tight bulb suit. You're gonna have Sean Gunn there, or so, like it's no, there's no way Harrison Ford is doing that. I'm sorry. There's just like, and it's such an interesting. One, I'm just interested that they had to have Ross the president. They didn't go with anybody else because so apparently they were set on this for a long time, and that's been some of the other scoopers are saying that apparently like Ford is like signed until like Secret Wars, so he signed for like 4 years. Like if you were telling me, hey, you think Harrison Ford is going to sign like a 4-year deal with Marvel? I'm like I feel like he'd be a one and done. The fact that he might be around for 4 years is like. It's just so weird to me. Like he's doing indie, but hey, the guy didn't stop. He's 79. He's like, I'm done with Han Solo. I'm done with indie. Fuck, let me be Red Hulk, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, if they're setting it up too that he's the president and the movie doesn't immediately like undo that because he's Red Hulk and like, oh, well, this guy's not going to be president. We're going to vote him out, whatever that process is called. Then like, yeah, it seems like he would be a relevant character that would stick around. Now, in general, the MCU, I feel like I could not tell you who the president is at like any time because that's actually not really a big part of any of the movies. It's like I think there is a president shown a couple of
Iron
different
Man
ones.
3,
maybe,
the president got kidnapped once.
there you go. Yeah.
But that was 8 years ago now, so they would have been out of
Yeah.
office by now, you know.
So obviously this is a lot different than that. They're going for something different.
Yeah.
Here.
And I would like that. Like I feel like primarily a lot of heroes that are based in America, and we got so much of Civil War, this and that are like have politics heavy motives. I would like it, even Falcon Winter Soldier, if we had a consistent president. I do like that idea of, okay, the president of the United States is this character and follow him, not just like, oh, it's this person. Oh, it's this person. You know, like, to me, it should be someone of note, especially if they're making stuff like the Sokovia Accords and things like that. It's like, I feel like the president would be involved in this, and we always just get like, that's who Ross was in Civil War, right? He was just like the secretary where he came in and like, oh, this is what's happening and stuff. But, Taylor, I know, you know, you're a big Star Wars guy. Maybe you're not the biggest Solo guy, but like, what do you take from, you got, you know, Weapon X maybe being introduced. You got Harrison Ford is for sure going to be around for a bit. He's going to be the president and he's going to be Red Hulk. Do you think that's why they voted him? Like, there's posters of him as Red Hulk and people like, yeah, I want that as my president, you know?
Him just that's the promotional campaign material. He's just in Red Hulk. Yeah.
They're doing like the Sam thing and he's like Hulk, but he has like, he's in red and he has all the hat and everything.
That's an interesting campaign. But hey, in this age of superheroes, it would probably work in the MCU, I guess. But yeah, I think I know you pulled up the photos there, and he's for plane repairs.
Yeah.
I know you pulled the photo up, and it'll be interesting to see if that's what he looks like in the movie. I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to really pull apart the actor from the character, because when I see him, I honestly think I see Indiana Jones first, and then I see
Bastard.
Han Solo after.
Something's wrong with you.
But yeah, it'll be tricky. Even when I see other films that he's been in, like Ender's Game, Cowboys and Aliens,
God.
like I see
Not
him.
Blade
like,
Runner. You pull Ender's Game and Cowboy Alien. Not Air Force One.
So it'll be interesting nonetheless. But I'm glad that they got him in there, and he's going to be playing Red Hulk, and I'm glad we're going to get Red Hulk. I think I'm a part of me is a big sucker for these spin-off side characters, and I don't even want to call them that because I don't want to denote them as such. But just when you think of like Hulk, and then you think, oh, there's a red one too. That's super cool. I think that's the Bionicle fan in me. 'Cause
I was
it's like,
just gonna say that's a
we got the
Bionicle.
green Bionicles, the red ones, the blue ones. Let's go. I'm down for all these Bionicles and all these hero colors. So that's another thing too. When I see like an Endgame, and I see, actually better example, when I see Iron Man 3, here's Iron Man's main suit, and we got all these other suits too. It just looks so cool. I love the variant spin-offs of that, and that's why Multiverse of Madness is probably so popular for me, because we have the different variants of characters, and I'm a sucker for that. It's like changing skins in a video game for your characters, different costumes and stuff. So I'm totally for it. And I
Lots
forgot
of-
the other half of that question.
I'm gonna ask you that again in a second. Lots of Iron Man 3 fun talk because I fucking said fun fact before I even continued what I was gonna say there. But I said lots of Iron Man 3 fun talk, but I meant to read fun fact.
Fun talk.
But fun fact from I suppose Jenna Ortega is in Iron Man 3 for a few seconds as the president's daughter.
That
Did
is a
not
very
know
fun
that.
fact.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep
Now,
my eye on for that.
I just Googled that, and she looks like she's 5 years old, which is makes sense, but it's hilarious. But I got to say, Travis, you stole her in the draft from me.
Yeah.
If she comes back and she is the president's daughter still, you do not get points. That is not a new character.
That's true, but that's not gonna happen. There's no way she's gonna come back as the president's daughter. Like I feel they'll recast her. Or
Why
she'll be
not?
in
They're making the
DC.
president a big deal.
But
yeah,
not-
a
that's not the
different
same
president's
president.
daughter
Yeah.
comes in.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. I totally.
Thunderbolt Ross adopted Jenna
My
Ortega.
brain did not make that connection.
This is Orange Hulk, my daughter, and then she's like,
Yeah, he's recast. They're recasting Thunderbolt Ross, not the president. Right? I need to remember that. Yeah.
yeah. To the second part was that this is going to have a link to Thunderbolts, that the government is kind of, it sounds like they're going to be introducing adamantium because they can't get their hands on vibranium. So that's the idea that like I said, what Dylan asked, we don't know if adamantium's been a thing in this world forever, if it's just discovered now. But what do you think about them kind of using this as a backdoor kind of introduction to Weapon X, adamantium, another sort of big, powerful substance in the MCU?
I definitely am not opposed to backdoors. I think if they're gonna go with this, then don't laugh. I know what you're thinking about.
This is an after 9, so I won't continue, but please. So yes, backdoors.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's a good route to incorporate it.
The ageless wonder strikes again.
Yes, I think adamantium needs to come into the MCU at some point. And
Wait, yeah.
I think you got
I
that
agree.
confirmed Wolverine, so that you got that going.
yeah, I think as far as we know, again, Wakanda Forever spoilers. Knowing that the governments
Wow.
of the world.
Just bold. 4 days removed. Oh, just so you know, Wakanda spoilers. They go, yeah. So skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear anything.
Yeah,
Like,
skip
go on.
it, skip it. I mean, this isn't really much of a spoiler, but yeah, yeah. The governments are trying to get vibranium, and they haven't yet. They can't. So, like you said, they need to find an alternative solution, and what better method than adamantium? So, using Wakanda Forever is kind of that narrative that was established as kind of a segue into the adamantium storyline. I think it totally works, and again, not trying to keep on the spoiler path, but having certain things placed where we can see more of this backstory forming with the American government, it makes sense to kind of have someone like Ross, again, if he is president, even more fitting to have this corrupt leader kind of just like, hey, we need metal. I'm assuming he's corrupt because he's like, yeah, we need to get more powerful and make more metals that are indestructible and all that jazz, and I'm the fucking Red Hulk, so all that kind of stuff.
Don't expect that line in the movie. Well, there you go. That's how
There you
you.
go.
That's how you. That's how you end it.
Love it.
So yeah, there you go. Well, Cat 4 is on the way. Apparently Cat 4 sounds like it's gonna be a big movie. I don't know how
Yeah.
much it sounds like it's gonna be a Captain America movie with if you got Moon Knight, She-Hulk.
He had a TV show. Let's
Yeah.
let's make this another multiverse saga film right here.
I think I do at least like the idea that I feel like the theme's going to be once again they're going to try and make this program and he's going to prove that hey, a regular human being can still be a hero. Watch him get killed like 20 minutes into his own movie by Red Hulk, and it's just like a memorial for
They're like, we
Captain
made an
America.
adamantium shield. We are better than you now.
Yeah, they might do that, right? His is vibranium, so. Yeah, we'll be right. Let's take another ad break, and then we'll be right back with some other topics about Harry Potter and pirates. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So I'm really curious to get your guys' opinion on this. So you got David Zaslav. He bought Warner Brothers. All this
Dude.
stuff's going on over there, and he's been talking a lot this week of like, and I'm going to talk about this on Trash Told You. Like, there's not going to be 4 Batmans. I don't know what the fuck that means. There's all this stuff that he's talking about, like DC. He literally said it's going to be drilled hard, which is like speaking of but like so he's been. I don't know why. I don't know what's been going on, but he's making a lot of quotes stuff, and there's been lots of rumors and reports. Now, one of these reports that came out this week is that he's heavily interested because he said a few weeks ago that there hasn't been a Superman film in 13 years, which is not true. There hasn't been a Harry Potter film in 10 years, which is kind of true, but like really you got Fantastic Beasts. So either way,
When was Man of Steel? What is this?
20. It's not even. Man of Steel was 9 years ago, so that's why everyone was memeing on him. Like,
Okay, I was like, well, maybe he's talking about BVS, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
See,
guy's drunk.
S-Bubs knows the memes and stuff like that. So that's why when he said today, like, oh, there's not gonna be 4 Batmans, people like, is there gonna be 3 Batmans? Because we got Affleck and Keaton passing, but I digress. So, kind of give you the order of events. It sounds like Fantastic Beasts is dead. That's not happening anymore, which I think that to me makes sense. The rumor is that he does want to continue the Potter movies, and they do want to do Cursed Child. They want to adapt that. Apparently, the idea is to get J.K. Rowling to make that into a feature film and do that. But apparently, the other addendum is that Daniel Radcliffe is not on board as of yet and really has no interest. And I feel like that's a combo of one, he said many times that he doesn't want to do it. And I feel like it's also just, I watched Weird Al this week, and I feel like he's just doing a good job of trying to separate himself and get himself on a different path as an actor. And I feel like he's actually there. I feel like I don't see just Harry Potter anymore. And I feel like you do that, you go right back, and he doesn't need to. And 2, like, if you look at his comments and JK's comments about the trans community, they're like detrimentally opposed to one another. So I don't know how he says all this stuff about JK that he doesn't support her, he's completely with the fans, and he speaks out against her, and then to kind of go on the press tour for this movie. So there's a lot going. But Tiff, I want to ask you, let's say they do this. Let's say Cursed Child comes out 2028. It's happening. Even if it's just one with Daniel Radcliffe, do you think they could pull off this movie with anybody or all of them recast, like the main 3 actors? Or do you think it would be dead in the water if, like, let's say, hey, we're going to do Cursed Child, it's going to be new actors playing these characters like the stage play, but, you're going to love it, it's going to be great. Like, do you feel they have to have these actors, or they shouldn't even try? Because it sounds like Zaslav, no matter what, like, he wants to do, he said this multiple times, like, he wants to do Potter films, which it's to me like Lord of the Rings, and like, obviously Star Wars is different now, but it's just like there's an end point to Harry Potter, and I guess that's the point. Maybe he's trying to get J.K. Rowling to make it not an end point, but it's like there still is. Like, you ended with what was it, Deathly Hallows, and they did do Cursed Child, but then after that was the end of Harry's story. So what would you do in this situation, or what do you think could happen in this situation?
I haven't read Cursed Child through because obviously they released the novel of it, but it was just this, like the screenplay, but just the stage adaptation.
Right,
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
So I didn't read that, but I was curious on the storyline, so I read like condensed
fucking
synopsis
wild.
versions. It is wild,
It's
and it's
a
something
wild
that
story.
It's something I would definitely really like to see adapted into a film. I think that there's a lot of juice there.
And J.K. didn't even fully write that either, which was really surprising.
In a sentence, what is the plot of it? Because I actually I know nothing about it.
Time
really.
travel.
Time travel, yeah. And I think there's 2 aspects of it. It's one, like, just to give a quick synopsis, where like Harry's son goes to the school and everything like that.
So
But
it takes place like in the future time of
yeah.
10, 15 years in the future.
And it's completely like opposed, where you think like, oh, he's gonna be friends with Ron and Hermione's kids. Like, no, they don't like each other at all. And he ends up being like friends with Malfoy's son. Like, minor spoiler, but like Harry's son goes into Slytherin. But then what happens is the story's intertwine and minor spoiler, but whatever. Somehow Lord Voldemort might be back, and it has to do.
Oh yeah, classic. Yeah.
And it has to do with time travel.
This time he has a nose, and it's so different. Yeah.
And it has to do with time travel. So yeah, that's what it is. That's the pitch of like villains using time travel to rewrite history to get the Lord who cannot be speaking. And like again, it's about, I think the story kind of starts as Harry's kid, but then quickly Harry Potter becomes the main character again.
I didn't even take it as Harry became the main character, because I thought it was more so Harry still resonated so much guilt about Cedric's death, so his son thought he could go back in time and change that. I thought.
See, I don't know the specifics of that. I just know that Harry has a lot of like screen time in that story. I think he has a lot of screen time in that story.
Yeah, it gets juicy, and I'm totally for a film adaptation based on it. I think it would be fantastic. But for me, I would want Radcliffe to return. I'm at the end of the day, I would still see it even if they recasted with different actors. But the main kicker for me is getting Daniel Radcliffe back. I didn't like the first Fantastic Beasts. The second one was definitely an improvement because we got to go to Hogwarts. That's the only reason. And the third one, I actually genuinely liked. I thought like this one actually feels more like a Harry Potter universe film. The Secrets of Dumbledore was actually pretty good. So, that being said, the fact that that's been kind of shelved, I don't hold anything dear in that decision, because I feel like Secrets of Dumbledore gave it a decent enough conclusion and we can call that a trilogy. Leave it as is. That's totally fine. We don't need two more movies.
That's the ending. Yeah.
That's the ending. So to get the Cursed Child and go back into Harry Potter as a character, that's a seller for me. And I really want that. So it depends how much they want to throw at Radcliffe to kind of bring him back. And I like you
that's
said,
honestly the talk of the town is it's see if there's going to be a breaking point. But I'm in the camp that I actually don't think there will be a breaking. I think he's going to say no.
He'll do it.
No,
I could see him holding his guns and sticking to that. No, I mean he dedicated so much of his time. Yeah, Guns Akimbo. He's dedicated so much of his time and life to being the different to break away from that Harry Potter role now. And I respect that. I think that's totally a justified reason to just kind of be your own thing. And I remember like the first thing I saw him outside of Harry Potter was The Woman in Black. And that was a bold movie. And I loved it so much. So
bold movie. So Dilmas, Cursed Child comes out, you get that preview and like, oh, excited to watch this for the cast. And they say Harry Potter. And it's like played by, I don't know, Macaulay Culkin. Like it's not Daniel Radcliffe. Like, and not so much even you, but like, what do you think the ramifications are if they can't nail down him or some of these other actors? Like, is it still worth doing if you can't get them? It's the same way, like, let's say Mark Hamill told you, no, Dylan, I'm not going to do Star Wars. Like, is it worth still doing or getting a new Luke Skywalker? Because that's kind of the situation where none of these actors have passed away, like obviously Hager and Snape, but these three are still around. So what do you do in the situation where you got this guy who's like, yeah, let's make more Harry Potter films, but some of that camp is like, yeah, I don't think I want to do any of that stuff,
Yeah, it's tricky because I outside of Radcliffe, from what I've seen of the whole downfall of J.K. Rowling saga is that no one really associates with her anymore. Any of the actors and things from
except for Ray Fiennes, he's a big don't be mad at her. Yeah.
Well, he's coming back, so there you go.
That's why he
it'll
needs
be
that
just him and her,
paycheck.
just them. They play everyone.
So what if Voldemort's the main character of Cursed Child?
Yeah, so I think that's just a you're just putting a bounty on it, like it's going down. Like that movie is dead in the water if you don't get those people. Now, I think a huge caveat to that is that once again, if you can have Harry Potter in the title, that is a big deal. Whereas I think Fantastic Beasts just had awful titles, Crimes of Grindelwald, whatever the fuck,
Secrets of Dumbledore.
These are awful. These are awful titles. So I think that is a huge help in terms of the marketing, because even I remember I think it was last year when they did that Harry Potter reunion thing. And I heard a lot of people just talking about it randomly because a lot of people love Harry Potter, but I feel like those same people just aren't even really aware of what is going on with Fantastic Beasts because it feels so separate in that way. So
it just feels so biased. It doesn't even feel associated at all. It feels like Sony Marvel with MCU. That's what it feels like. But they're under the same company. That's the weird thing,
It's weird. But I think truthfully the biggest thing that just makes me not even care about this, even if some of those actors, if the actors came back, that would bring me in. I would have to see a curiosity kind of thing. But I like J.K. Rowling as a writer is just not
Yeah.
great. Like, I mean, we talked about this with Fantastic Beasts that she wrote those, and she is not good at writing movies. I even think books, like, this maybe is a controversial thing to say, although I don't think it would be anymore. But like, I even when I read those books recently, I didn't even really like them that much. Like, obviously there's a lot of great ideas there, but for me, it's the actors' performances, it's the directors that brought those worlds to life, it's the composers. Like those are the reasons why I love Harry Potter. Yes, she wrote the whole thing, but they are the people that brought it to life, and is why I love it so much, even all these years later and after all these things that have happened. So the fact that she's writing is immediately to me like, oh, this is not going to be good, even if you do get some of those people back. So I have very little faith in this. And as for the Fantastic Beasts movies going away, I don't care. I haven't. How many is there now? There's
three. And
yeah, I haven't seen the most
5,
recent one, so I don't plan to at any point. Don't care about those anymore. So I'm fine if they go away.
Well, and that's what's so interesting so far with the Zaslav guy, where there's this decision that, like, to me, he'll look at some like background and be like, I don't think this is gonna make money, so I'm gonna cut it and I'll hate it. But then some like Fantastic Beasts. But to me, that's different because like at least there's a proven track record of it not performing the greatest. But I honestly think that is a smart move to cut your loss there, because I just don't think it's captured the magic. I don't think it's a big loss. And if you want to finish off the story, you can write some more books. And yeah, not even the personal stuff, because like the personal stuff with JK is tough, but at the same point, like I saw those movies, I reviewed them with Taylor and stuff like that, like, and I'm gonna buy Legacy, which yeah, she didn't write, but they're getting a lot of the profit. So it's that sort of tough thing where it's the art and the artist. We've talked about that before, and I think that's where like, okay, I gotta separate that. I gotta be like what Radcliffe says, where this world has introduced and brought to a lot of many people, and a lot of those people, even that community, feel like that's a movie and book that spoke to them, and that's why I think it hurts even more. It's like that was about being different and an outcast, and you have the creator who like constantly talks down and takes like shots, but like tries not to take shots in books, but it's just like backhanded. So I'm with Dylan, like just putting all that stuff aside, Fantastic Beasts, I think her writing them never worked, and I think that there is money in Cursed Child no matter what, but I think if you even lose one of those actors, I think you like half the box office right away. Like if Cursed Child is $1 billion movie, it's 500 million. I don't know if I agree with that, Spubs, that it's a straight to VOD mega flop. Like I think it would make, here's the thing, I think it would make more than the Fantastic Beasts movies, because you got that title and stuff like that. I think if there's a case though where let's say Radcliffe doesn't want to do it, then you recast everybody's recast, and you like go like really like, even though like they try to make Radcliffe look older in those movies, like you get a 50-year-old 60-year-old actress Harry, so it's like, oh, this is, they can even like cheat and say, oh, this is why it's not Radcliffe, because it's someone a lot older than him and stuff like that. But I think that if you lose one, you can't do any of them. And I agree with that, Spubs, that the only way I've been pitching is the only way they'll accept it is when they reboot, whether it's a TV show or another series, then it's fine. So it's going to be interesting, because the same way at one point, like Zaslav said something about Lord of the Rings, and I don't even know if he realized that they don't have that franchise anymore, because he said like, oh, we haven't made Lord of the Rings in this long, but it's like same thing. Is like, we'll see what Embracer Group does, but at the moment it's like you just can't make a Lord of the Rings 4. Like you can't. And at least with Harry Potter, it's like, okay, there is a Cursed Child, but even then it's like, we want to make films. Okay, the most you might get out of that is 2. Like, these are not franchises.
Saying you can make a Lord of the Rings 4. You can do it.
The Return of Saruman. Taylor's great. Was that still loaded up there?
Oh, it's in there.
Never
Oh
delete
god.
that one.
Go check out our Lord of the Rings
We
Patreon
need it
cast.
on hand. You never know when it's going to come up. Just like that.
Zaslav's gonna make.
As long
fucking
as
The Return of
Zaslav's around, we need that
Saruman.
picture in the shoot ready to go.
So it's just weird, and I just feel like this feels very much like if Lucas had kept all the rights to Star Wars and they were working with him. And not saying that Lucas is equivalent to JK, no, but I just mean like in this vein of, okay, he's coming off the prequels that the people don't really like, but he has to make more movies. At least with that, I feel like the cast always at least enjoyed / liked George a lot, so that wouldn't, like, you wouldn't have ever heard Mark Hamill being like, fuck George Lucas, I'm not coming back. Like, it's not that situation. It's just weird where, like I said, is there a situation where she does just start writing books to make movies now? Like, is there some sort of deal that way of like, hey, make a sequel to Cursed Child, make books about Harry's kids and stuff like that? Like, I could see that if you make a book about the kids and then you just don't even have the adults in them, because then it's like they're away. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting that they want to do this. I don't think it's gonna get off the realm, but man, I am looking forward to, they announce Cursed Child and then 2 months later they announced who's playing Harry Potter, and it's not Radcliffe, and just the internet uproar. And I guess for any actor it could be a big gig, so that could be good for them, but at the same point it's like I feel like you might just get the Alden Ehrenreich console treatment where it's just not going to go your way. And or even we haven't seen about Liam Hemsworth as The Witcher. Like I'm not a big Liam Hemsworth fan, but I feel bad because that like I feel like that's just
an impossible task.
It is, but also just like the recasting has become like a meme. Like you're a meme for trying to play Henry Cavill. Like no one's given Liam. They say they are, but no one's giving him a real shot when that show starts because it's always going to be it's not Henry, and that's the same way with Radcliffe. So, and that's the same way probably with this other topic. That's a smaller one, but Margot Robbie, she's doing the press for Babylon. That's coming out in a few weeks, which I can't wait for because the review. Babylon is Damien Chazelle's next movie. Dylan, La La Land, Whiplash, First Man.
Count me in. Count me in.
It's her, Brad Pitt, Tobey Maguire's in it.
Oh my God! What? I'm watching this. Sounds so good.
3-hour plus movie. So.
Oh God, I don't like that detail.
Yeah, I thought I should just say that before you get too excited, but it'll be good. But I'm excited because the reviews came out yesterday's first screening, and they're very mixed as far as some people like absolutely love it, and some people are saying like this feels like a fucking fever dream of a movie for like a bad reason. But I'm excited. But either way, so she's doing a lot of press for this and stuff, and she had revealed that Pirates film that was announced a few years ago that's dead in the water. She said that they were working on a female like led film, but not like female exclusive, but like a female led one, and then she put it as it's not something they wanted to do, which to me felt like a little shot in there at Disney to be like, oh, whatever they didn't want. So Taylor, when we're just talking about like Harry Potter, because I feel like we talked about this on the 24-hour stream, something came up, and we always talk about like it's the elephant in the room, but like you got Pirates of the Caribbean, it's so like tied to Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp and things like that. Like there's another franchise where it's like, what do you like? Disney clearly wants to do something because they announced this thing with Robbie. That's no longer happening. I think they announced like a show, but that's
there was
been very
another thing.
Yeah, so it's like the Zazzle thing where they want this to go, but it feels like these things don't happen, and Depp's still very questionable. So one, are you disappointed this is going to happen? And two, do you think is there some other route they could do this, or do you think it's just not to be like a pun, but is it dead in the water and they should just leave it for a decade or so and come back to it later when they could do a fresh coat of paint or something?
The Margot Robbie thing, was that not in the same universe as the Depp stuff?
I don't think it was ever confirmed. I don't think it was confirmed where it was, if it was a continuation.
Seas far away.
Yeah, 100%. That's the easy way of like, they never cross paths because the she cells are different on this side.
Seashells are different.
That's Aegis Wonder telling that story.
Yeah,
oh, yes, and I was here back in the day.
I am always down for more Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. At the end of the day, I love this world. I think it's fantastic. And I really would have liked to have seen something with Margot Robbie in that world. I think Margot Robbie plan, after what she could deliver as Harley Quinn, just putting her in the role of like this drunken piratess character would have been super cool.
What? Drunken
like,
what?
Drunken piratess.
Is piratess a word?
I don't know. It is right now, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, there we
I've
go.
never heard piratess. Is that you trying to make the word pirate into a female? Is that what you're?
That's the one, yes.
I think they're still just pirates, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, I think it is just pirate. But yeah, I think
Pirates. Pirate. There you go.
Pirates. I think
awful.
that she
Don't
could
use
have delivered a super, super cool character in a fantastic story, depending on what the story was, I guess. I shouldn't say fantastic story, but yeah, I think it's a missed opportunity to just kind of explore and build off of that. And yes, Johnny Depp, when you think of Pirates of the Caribbean, he is that piece of the puzzle, that huge component attached to it. But for reasons that everyone, I imagine, is aware of, it was definitely a tribulative past year for him and his marriage.
What a way to
In
put
his
it.
marriage, yeah, specifically that.
I listened to many hours of those court cases. Just
Why?
Like,
Why you?
I was curious. I was just trying to hear the
It's
stories.
like trash
and just
reality
listen.
TV, right?
Yeah.
Can't
Oh
look away.
yeah. No, I just thought it was interesting to just kind of like listen to everything going on. I want to be informed. I want to know if
That's nothing you need to be informed about.
Someone's gonna ask me on the stream, like, Taylor, you know about the Depp case? Like, yes, I can speak to this case. So
We would just say no and move on, and the listener would hopefully understand.
No, it has nothing to do with me. It doesn't matter to life at all.
but yeah, I listened to it and I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways, yeah, Margot Robbie.
My question was, what should Disney do with these fucking pirate franchise?
Why are you
Just get
talking
to
about
that.
Johnny? Get Johnny out of here.
Get Johnny's not coming back. I don't care what people say.
Well, I
think
saw an
it's-
article that what was his what was his name? Jerry Bruckheimer. Yes, I thought I saw an article talking about like, oh, like we're just waiting to see how things kind of pan out. I'm paraphrasing here. Don't quote me on this article.
Is this a headline or an article?
This
like,
is an article.
the body?
They're like, oh, we're just kind of waiting for things to see.
That
I'm
was
sure
months and months ago when that was during the trial, and I think that was
That's
just his
all it
nice way of
takes.
saying like, "Hey, I don't think we're doing." I don't think he was saying no, but I don't think giant.
But he's
figure
scot
like
free
screws
though
it,
now,
yeah.
so I mean, we'll just have to see what's
No,
going
he's
to
not.
happen.
Okay, fuck it. Scot free? Scott, does no one want to replay?
I thought you watched hours of this thing.
Yeah,
I actually
I'm
don't
not
know.
trying to get
I
into
actually
it,
don't
but the trial, if it's about who's innocent and guilty, both of them won a claim. Both of them won the claim. You know what that means? That both of them were guilty of something.
Yeah, but
it's not he won
he's
every
scot-free.
claim.
No, I didn't mean he won everything. He's totally
and it's being
innocent.
appealed. They're going back to court. It's
they're
not
both
over.
they're both a little sus, but I didn't know he was going back to court. I thought
They
the
had
appealing
to,
was just
yeah.
a bait article tag. I didn't read that one, but
Do you know how court cases work at all? People don't just appeal things to bait them. Like there's
I'm
nothing
behind
to
on my Law and Order shows there, my episodes. I gotta get
Yeah,
back
maybe
into
Daredevil will educate you.
Yeah, you got to watch Daredevil and you'll learn the tricks
Yeah,
of the
there's a
trade.
case just like this. Either way, what are they doing? No Margot, no, let's say Depp for right now. Do they try again with a new actor, a new iteration, or do they just leave it alone for now?
I think you just leave it alone, which is the hardest thing for me to acknowledge because, like, I feel like, okay, we got at World's End, and that concluded things relatively well for the trilogy, and then we got in Stranger Tides, which, again, kind of concluded things generally. And then we got Dead Men Tell No Tales, which left things very well. It concluded, but yeah, that end credit scene was
It
the
didn't
most.
conclude. It was a cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger. Of
Well,
Davy
no,
Jones.
the ending without the cliffhanger bonus act post credit scene was definitely like conclusive, but then that post credit scene made it so climatically cliffhangery because they were just having sex all night, and then we get Davy Jones strolling in there. Well,
I've
it's
seen
true.
this and I don't know what's going on.
There's a blooper
yeah.
of us. Yeah, there's a great podcast moment of us three and Briggs reviewing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan, it's wiped from his mind. He doesn't even remember.
It is, truthfully, and so is this news. We're like, you said we talked about this on the stream. I'm sure this talked about on newscast. 0% of my mind could have told you that this was a thing that was announced at some point. So like the news that it's not happening, just net
Hardly
zero.
knew. It
Nothing
afflicts
has
you.
changed in my mind.
I was gonna say, don't you remember the quote of rigorous hours of sex? Do you remember that?
I wish that sounds.
Remember the
great.
Zoidberg? Like
Oh, I wish.
I'll
man.
find the clip
Yeah, I
anyway.
wish.
So then so obviously then no connection to the Margot Robbie thing, but same thing, big. I don't want to call him Big Bob Chaychek, Big Bad Bob, whatever it is. They
What
come to
the-
you and they're like, what should we do with this thing? Should we again try with someone else? Do we do the Disney Plus series? Do we just kind of kill it for a while and wait and bring it back, or do we just because it is a franchise? It's multiple films made billions of dollars, so it's like if you're trying to look at IP, that's something that's just sitting there, but should it sit there and stay there? I guess I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think you can do it. What it was 2017 is my guess. When did that movie the last one
That
came out?
sounds about right, to be honest. Yeah.
So we're
correct.
looking at 5 years by the time they announce some stuff, things happen, films, probably another 2 or 3 years. Like that's good. That's a fair amount of time. I think you do like a soft reboot. You don't need to close out what happens in those, but I think you get a new main cast at the very least. Some fresh up and comers, your Jenna Ortegas of the world, that kind of thing. Get them in there, and yeah, I think you just go ahead with it. It doesn't sound like this Margot Robbie thing would ever pick up again. But I think that's what you do, and I think you could have pretty successful. I think you definitely do a movie, maybe a TV show down the line. Sure, this is Disney Plus something series, short, whatever you want to call it. But for now, yeah, do a movie. Yeah, sure, why not?
Just anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think depending on the budget, I'm on the Disney Plus series for now, and you start with that and you move forward. But I still think that the reason I think you do the show is because you could do the movie, but I do think we're still too close where people are attached. And I'm not even talking about the Depp fans. I'm just talking about let's see, I I just feel like people in the GA that just like Johnny Depp and haven't even followed the trial and stuff like that, I just don't know if they're ready for a Pirates of the Caribbean without him. They should have years ago been working on an exit strategy to try to like hand it over to other characters. Even that fifth one, they had like younger characters, but it didn't feel like a handover. Just like, well, these are the people that are going to join Jack on his next adventure. It's like they should have worked on some sort of exit strategy and stuff like that. But I just thought they're like, oh, we're just going to keep making.
They gave everyone like a kid except Sparrow. They gave Barbosa a kid, Turner a kid.
I mean, that's what they do. But that's where I feel like you get close in that. It's not a recast, but you get close into that Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter thing where you cast some young guy and like, oh, this is Jack Sparrow Jr. and it's his son or it's his daughter. And that's, I think, dangerous. And I feel like the TV show is something you do the gimmick of it's on a different ocean far away, but then you wait on a movie. You wait a little bit longer and see, because now it's tough because you have people that, think that, Depp's scot-free and he can just be in all these movies, which maybe Disney wants to do that. I don't know, but I feel like they don't, and I would like to see more because I just like the world overall. It's a fun world. I'd like to go venturing. There's not enough pirate movies. I know it's a weird thing to say, but like I like the genres and stuff like that. So I think there's things you could do and legends you could do, and I actually think a film without Jack Sparrow would be a breath of fresh air because I think near the end Johnny wasn't phoning it in, but he was just in pilot or cruise control, not pilot control. I don't know what that is, but maybe that's what they have up there. But if we're in cruise control with Jack, so I think it'd be great. Margot always felt like a weird fit for me of like the way her career is going. Like other than Harley, lately she's been doing a lot of, and I guess we got Barbie coming out next year, but even Barbie, that's attached to like an Academy Award winning director. Like all her stuff now has been very Oscar baity or very drama heavy. So the fact that I was like, oh, she's going to be in a Pirates movie, I never bought that was going to happen. There's rumors of Karen Gillan at one point, so maybe that will kick back up. But yeah, I'd like them to take a movie, but then if they do a movie, I just hope they have realistic expectations and they're not thinking this has to be $1 billion franchise or we kill it right away because the last ones were, it's like, well, no, that had a lot of sequels, that had Johnny Depp and stuff like that. So I don't know, but anything else on this topic?
Really just CGI Johnny Depp completely. Just give a different actor.
I think they'd have to pay him.
Would you have to?
Yes.
You CGI his face?
Yes. That's his
That
likeness.
Impersonation.
Yeah, unless you're like Bruce Willis, who signed away. Bruce Willis has signed like his rights so people can like do the deepfake actor thing and stuff like that.
Fuck. When we make one of our movies, we should just deepfake Bruce Willis.
Technically, if you have the money, you can do it. You can pay for Bruce Willis to star in your movie, but it won't be Bruce Willis. So you can do that now. And I think other actors will sign on.
Awesome.
So if Johnny Depp signed that, then yeah, they could take it. They just take it so they kill him off in the first 2 minutes. Like, they make him admit to being guilty for all his crimes.
Sean Gunn does all the acting behind the scenes.
Sean Gunn's playing Red Hulk. He's playing Jack Sparrow. Man, he's gonna be playing Harry Potter too.
He's gonna be in 1,000 DC projects in the coming years.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, there you go. That was our, like I said, in promoting this was our new version of GeekVerse podcast, but much like the old version and stuff like that. It was fun to just talk and banter and got some news heavy there. But yeah, so I hope for people that were saying, hey, we want a bit more just us chill. I think this was a fun one. So
yeah, definitely.
Oh, you had finger guns. Like I thought you were saying something, but I was like, don't promote anything now. We're at the end. No one's listening,
promo.
but our, So, yeah, we'll be back later on this week with Andor. Dylan and Kirklin will have another newscast. Check out the God of War review. I'm doing the same thing. We're promoting Chucky. Check out Chucky. So, there you go. And check out Santa Claus. I don't think we'll be reviewing it, but Taylor, that drops tomorrow too. The Santa Claus show.
That drops tomorrow?
Yeah, me and the kids binged all the trilogy this week to get ready for tomorrow.
Well, that's why you did the Twitter post too. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, damn.
Oh, we're gonna talk about an After 9. The plot of that movie is fucked up.
Oh yeah.
I thought about something, didn't even know. But yeah, After 9. Promise you, none of that stuff will be boring. Thank you very much for tuning in.